Hey, hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about stuff. Today we're going to be talking about things that I am going to be buying over the course of this week. Recently, you may or may not have heard a very famous artist by the name of Frank Kozik, K-O-Z-I-K, recently passed away. A lot of his stuff was actually on the VV platform, which I saw a number of people then begin to run to after the news began to spread of his passing. I do not know the names of these things per se, but I bought this, and I bought this. And I will be buying a number of other things from him on the platform as well. It's more of a, I don't know the names of a lot of these things. A lot of other things are easier to say and or have more common names that I can fit into my head. But I already do collect from a number of artists, if nearly not all of them, who are on the VV platform. I collect physical art myself, and I do like to collect digital art as well, not just the comics as we usually end up talking about. But these are the things that I have purchased and that I will be buying more of over the course of the next, I want to say even couple of days, maybe even couple of weeks. One of the really easy tricks I found on the VV platform is that a lot of people tend to hype up something very quick. The price tends to rise, and then eventually it actually ends up falling as other new things end up making it onto the platform. And that is usually the moment when other people have forgotten about something that I tend to buy up more of it. And you know, it's a very simple trick. When other people aren't paying attention, that's when you buy. But I know that given VV human nature, people will be buying these things now, and then eventually the price will drop a bit, and that's when I will take the advantage to scoop up a lot more. Same exact thing for the raw English stuff. I will be buying a lot more raw English things on the platform. The amount of raw English items on the platform continues to dwindle, as with many other things. I tend to sometimes focus mainly on the commons and rares. Sometimes they fall to around 7 gems, $7, and I don't know the previous all-time highs before, but I know he is a large enough artist that I believe in his work enough that should we have, or when we have another bull run over the course of the next, whenever it might actually end up happening, that I think these will appreciate. I think logically that they will double in price at least, going from $7 to $14 when many of these things were $100, $150, $200. So a lot of times with stuff on VV, if I put 5 into it and I know that I'm going to make 10 back, I've already doubled my money. But I know that many of these things are going to go far higher. I don't know if you've been paying attention as well to the rares and ultra rares for the comics as well. Over the last couple of weeks, the amount of them on the platform continues to drop. There are whales and people buying them all the time. But maybe around 5 or 6 weeks ago, you might have remember I made a couple of videos, what am I going to buy this week? And there were a lot of ultra rares of like relatively popular comics. They were selling for 12 to 15 gems, which is insane. Some of these things have like, only 500 editions available. And now many of these are $28, $35. So it picks up very quick. You just kind of have to know when to actually buy things if the moment looks right. Also on the list is Giant Size X-Men #1. This should come as absolutely no surprise. We still do not have X-Men #1, which is the first appearance of the X-Men, but Giant Size X-Men is the first appearance of Storm, first appearance of Colossus, first appearance of Nightcrawler, and second appearance of Wolverine, a very popular character. This comic book is quite large in the real world. There's not really much, I don't know what else to really throw in there for that. It's more of a, VV has released a lot of very large books in the last couple of months. I think a lot of people who only pay attention and or know about these comics in the comic book world are actually buying up them in huge amounts. So some of these have between 7,500 and or 10,000 editions. I've seen a lot of times the amount that's available for sale will be roughly around 1,500 after the drop happens. And then we get into the situation where a couple of days later, there's maybe 1,100, then 920, then 740, and some of them have only around like 300 left that are actually available for sale. So I know that people are buying up tons of them, but I want to also make sure that if you are not or have not been in the comic book world or did not grow up with comic books or simply don't know what you are looking at or might have to try and buy, These are highly prized, very important comics in the comic book world, and I think we are going to get into another situation where, similar to Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Cardano, where very large whales are going to be buying these things up silently. If we get to a point where the commons in some of these comics ends up going to $500 and or $1,000, they will own all of them. So, you know, while prices are low, I take advantage of all of these great deals. Also on the list is Journey into Mystery. I believe it's number 83, the first appearance of Thor. This is also a gigantic book. It is worth a huge amount of money in the real world. I saw a number of people saying before that some of my numbers were a bit off as far as like if I mentioned that a X comic was worth around 100K in a certain condition. And I'll say this in the nicest way possible. All markets are down right now. I'm going off of prices that I've previously seen before. Every single collectible area is down now. And that even goes so far as to real estate. People do collect apartments. The prices of those have also slid as well. Comic books are down. Art is down lightly as far as like resale value and stuff like that. Pokemon cards are down, sports cards are down, you name it. I've seen people on Instagram as well complaining, talking about that their Charizard from a couple of years ago doesn't have the same value. What happened to the market? It's also very important to, if you follow this channel and the other channel, to look at macro events. Look at the world. The world's not doing good. Banks aren't doing good. People aren't doing good. People are broke. So you have to understand that. This is kind of like, once again, the time when smart money would be buying. It's when prices are down. A lot of people rush into these collectibles and art and real estate when prices are very high, not realizing that they could have bought them for great bargains, even like things right now. This is why I mentioned multiple times, you won't hear me simply just saying I'm only buying one thing on Vivi and that's it, okay. No, I buy like 15 things at a time because I see that there's so many things that are so much cheaper than they were before and or are even under, like dramatically under drop price, which doesn't make any sense. And this is all in the event that the cryptocurrency market does recover, the banking crisis ends up ending, interest rates stop rising, and also, I forgot what the last one was, but it's basically like when markets recover, we will all be able to benefit from it. So the best time, not financial advice, is to buy when prices are down. That's the most logical thing to do. You don't wait until prices have recovered and you can't afford the item anymore, or only one of them, as opposed to when you could have purchased many of them. We've gone over that before when it came to Marvel Comics #1 and Amazing Spider-Man #1 on the Vivi app. I told you when I first got the app, they were $4 each, and I was like, I think I bought 2 or 3 of each of them, and I was like, okay, that's, I don't need that many. And now looking back at it, it's like, why did I not empty out my bank account and just buy every single thing that was on the app? And now that there are other very big comics on Vivi right now, like huge comics, the commons and the uncommons are selling for $4, $5, $6, $7, and very few people are touching them except for the people who understand that now is the time to actually buy. Also on the list is Tales of Suspense number 39, the first appearance of Iron Man. This one slipped by me for a while. I told a friend and he laughed as well. I put I put a couple hundred onto the app with the intention of buying, I think, an ultra rare Marvel Comics #1, to buy an uncommon Amazing Fantasy 15. There were 2 other really big books that I really wanted to get in either a secret rare and or ultra rare form. And for some reason, I did the exact opposite and bought a whole bunch of other like tiny things. And then I was like, oh, why did I not buy the comics that I wanted to actually buy? And this was one of them. Iron Man is a gigantic character. This comic book in physical form, when I was a kid, was worth garbage. Absolutely nothing, peanuts. Nobody wanted it. Iron Man was not a popular character. Lo and behold, he's one of the most popular Avengers characters that we currently have out there. I think that this is the price trend on this. Journey into Mystery, the first appearance of Thor, the Amazing Fantasy 15, the first appearance of Spider-Man. The price trend of these is currently the lows of what the golden moments were back in 2021, when people were simply just sitting on the app. The price extrapolation of those NFTs, those comics, as we began to like ride into the bull run was absolutely spectacular. There are many of the golden moments that were going for around $200. They ended up rushing up to $4,800 to $5,500, which is currently roughly around where the uncommon is for Amazing Fantasy. I have a friend who thinks adamantly, I think he owns like 10 of them now. He thinks that they are going to go to around 5,000 each in the event of a market recovery and an actual bull run. And as far as the Journey into Mystery and the first appearance of Iron Man, they're roughly around, I think 30 or 40 for the uncommons, and he thinks that they can maybe hit around 900 to 1,000 in the event of an actual market rise up. And I get annoyed with myself because I say these numbers out loud in videos, and I don't want people to think that they're actually, or will, unequivocally go to these numbers. It's more of a price calculation when it comes to like investing into something. So like a lot of times you may notice, like if I'm talking about getting a certain cryptocurrency coin or buying Ethereum or buying this coin, I'll say like where I believe the coin is actually going to go. And they seem relatively realistic based on the previous all-time highs of other comics that are currently on the app that had editions of 60,000 that ended up going there for their common price. And these have an edition of 10,000. So there's 1/6 of what the other ones have, and they are more popular than the other ones that we had before. If that kind of makes any sense. I assume that was normal English, so you probably all got that. The last thing on the list is Fantastic Four number 4, the first Silver Age appearance of the Submariner. I mentioned that before in another video. I like the Submariner character. I can't tell you why. I have since I was a kid. I think anything with water is really cool. I've always liked water. I've always liked the ocean. I've always liked the sea. So someone who can call fish and fight with fish and has, lives in Atlantis is always very, very cool for me. I am near my goal. I mentioned before, I am going to own 1% of the entire print run of this comic on the VV app. I'm very, very close. I'm trying to figure out exactly which rarities that I want. I currently have 2 of the secret rares, multiple of the ultras, and everything else is kind of all the other rarities. I do like the common cover, obviously the most, as it is the original cover, but the uncommons are always like the best for the actual value. So I tend to scoop up a lot of those as well. Also looking at a lot of golden moments at the moment. Golden moments at the moment. A lot of them are around like $29, and I was gonna say I don't understand why, but I know why. Every time that something new or shiny comes onto VV, like VV recently just also released new Lamborghinis on their app as well. And I noticed that a lot of people began to sell off other larger, what I would consider to be larger assets on the app for other things to be able to afford and or buy the Lamborghinis. I prefer to hold a Disney golden moment as opposed to a digital Lamborghini. But once again, that's just a different way of investing for everyone. So yeah. I do hope you all enjoyed. Let me know what you are buying this week. I always see a lot of people telling me some really cool stuff that they're going to be buying, a lot of stuff that also or was not even on my radar. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, great morning, great afternoon, great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.